I got my toes crossed. Are you kidding? Everything's crossed.
Okay, and we are live. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this exclusive sit-down with the production team behind the upcoming film documentary Introducing Homeopathy. Live. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'll start that again. Apologies for the sound. Hello, and welcome to this exclusive sit-down with the production team behind the upcoming film documentary Introducing Homeopathy, which screens on Friday, April 19th, on the occasion of the joint American Homeopathic Conference, which is being held in Reston, in Virginia, in the USA. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome filmmaker Julian Schroeder McKenna, homeopath and filmmaker Carol Boyce, and the visionary himself, producer Kim Elia, to this live sit-down. Welcome, one and all, and thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you, Atik. And
Thank you.
thank you
for
the
having
support
us.
you've
Yeah.
shown for this time. Yeah, we appreciate it greatly.
I feel like I'm in Hollywood.
It would be a lot warmer in Hollywood, let me tell you.
Hey, I must ask you about the eclipse, though, just before we start. Did you get a chance to see it?
No, I watched it on the NASA website.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kim.
No, I was going to say we've been so diligently focused on the film that we haven't had a chance to go out at all. But I mean, basically, we're just completely working from early in the morning to late at night to get the film completed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just to explain, I was watching the NASA website here while I was working on the computer. So even then, we didn't get out of our cage. So
Can imagine. So I would like to ask you, with just over a week now left before the screening on April 19th, do tell us how close you are to the final cut of this incredible film. Any takers?
No one wants to say.
It depends on who you ask, I think. But we're very close. We actually have a rough cut right now, which gets all the pieces in place. The structure is there. All the content is there. It just requires fine tuning, some editing, replacement of B-roll, but we're very, very close. Of course, all three of us are perfectionists, so we're working diligently to make this absolutely unequivocally the best film that you'll ever see about homeopathy, and that will really change the perception of homeopathy amongst the general public.
Wonderful, wonderful indeed. Now, I must say that I've had the good fortune to be part of some collaborator meetings, and you've showed us some footage from the film. And one of the things that always took place after you showed the footage was complete silence. And, I figured it out. That silence actually equaled being totally overwhelmed, and just overwhelmed at the story. And as far as homeopathy is concerned, those real life stories that are coming to film, the quality, the facts, this is not just storytelling, as Kim, you've mentioned previously. These are real stories of real people whose lives have been changed and are continuing to be changed through homeopathy. So how has that experience been for yourselves? And I know that you're of course, very deep into it. And so sometimes it's difficult to take a step back. But how do you feel? Because I think personally, you've reached an incredible milestone for homeopathy. It really is something so special. And I can tell you the vibes with the people that I talk to, certainly, and even in the UK, it's huge. I mean, there's so much anticipation now.
I think I might have a unique take on this. Kim, I don't know if I'm
No,
stepping
go ahead, Julian. For sure.
Because again, I am not a homeopath first and foremost, like everybody else. And I think what's unique to homeopaths is it's almost run of the mill for them to see these transformations that are near miraculous to everybody else. So I'll get calls. I got a call from Kim the other day about a case, and he said there was a 24-hour complete turnaround. I mean, it was wild to hear. So when I look at all of these patient journeys, what strikes me is how potentially miraculous they might appear to the rest of everyone else. But just on a fun kind of aside, on the flip side of that coin, because obviously that's a very meaningful and emotional thing. But when we're editing it between ourselves and reviewing cuts, inevitably, as we go through the cuts, one of us will start crying on the Zoom calls. And it's become kind of one of those aha moments where like, oh, yep, you know, we've done a good job if we know the other parties are shedding some waterworks. So you know, all facetiousness aside, it feels like when everybody else sees this, we really will be able to strike that emotional chord and just draw a link between how, you know, truly transformative and miraculous what we're seeing is compared to a lot of what else is out there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And you know, I'm actually getting dehydrated from over crying because I'm telling you, even and Atik, it's great to hear that positive feedback, and we've gotten a lot of it from a lot of other people. But you know, the three of us have watched this film, I don't know, 100 times. So
Mm.
you know, it's very difficult to distance yourself from it at a certain point. You don't know, you know, like how will other people feel about it? But we've been showing it to a number of different individuals over the last few weeks, and the feedback has been uniformly positive. I mean, people have been just saying, "Wow, brilliant, amazing! I'm speechless." So it's really good to hear that feedback.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even sitting here now, listening to you and and Kim and Julian, I'm already choking up because it's like I've loved working on this team and the opportunity to put this film out there, knowing what a transformation it can make in terms of people's approach to homeopathy, their understanding of homeopathy, their desire to pursue homeopathy. You know, it's what we've needed. I've wanted to be part of something like this for 40 years. So yeah. So I'm all choked up right now myself.
It's so needed, and I think that on April 19th, it's really going to hit home, isn't it? What you've achieved, you know? I think that's going to be that's the opportunity there, and I think it's going to be a life-changing moment for yourselves as well, I must say. Um, Even though you've been involved fully, but to see the other side of it, and of course to see the reaction of the audience, I think is going to be amazing.
Yeah. That is always the key thing as a filmmaker. Is not watching the film, but watching the audience and see, you know, if what you've strived to land actually lands. And it will really only be at the JHC that we see that for sure.
It's
So yeah,
amazing. It's amazing.
nerve-wracking, actually.
It's just amazing, I think, what you've achieved. Honestly, I can't say it enough, and I will continue saying it because it's so important now in this period that we're living in so much uncertainty and so much. We're living in a global sort of health, not a health crisis where people are sick,
Yeah.
you know, and people are very, very sick. And it's like, please, there must be something that can help me. And this, you know, it's so important at this moment in time. Um, Now, I wanted to ask you, Julian, you've been involved with the film right from the start, and of course, you've been flying around the world, which in itself must be exhausting. And then lugging quite a heavy camera around with you. I have been involved in other programs as far as broadcasting is concerned, so I know the weight of cameras, and I know how many bags one has to take, and the spare batteries, and the cabling, and blah blah blah, and the meters of XLR, etc. But how has that experience been for you?
To be honest with you, I probably travel about 150 days a year, you know, across all of our projects. So, and I truly grew up traveling. Actually, when I was little, we moved around, living in a different country virtually every 2 years, and you know, just basing out of those countries, but actually really ping-ponging around. So I'm uniquely set up for this emotionally, I think. But you know, again, to really go back to this project specifically, I would say it's less about the places we've been and more about the people we've met. And the people uniformly across the board just have a level of passion for what they're doing that is unique. And I think you see once you watch the first 15 minutes of the film, you see people that were doing something else in their careers that went through such a powerful experience that it instilled this passion into them that's informed their pursuit of homeopathy for the rest of their life. A great story, and I hope she'd be okay with us sharing this, but I think it's all public knowledge. Wanda Happy Smith Schick, who is one of the people on screen, maybe you've interviewed her actually
Yeah.
for your podcasts. She worked for Roman Coppola as his coordinator. I'm sorry, Francis Ford Coppola, the father, as his coordinator. And this is somebody who was at the top of their career in the film world, who was so compelled by homeopathic endeavors that she completely transformed her career. So you see these stories over and over, and I think, again, just going back to your question, that's probably been the single most beautiful thing of all the travel for the project.
As you were saying that, that is a real background, isn't it? Because it's almost 3D. There was a little yellow boat going across. It was very lovely.
Well, thank you. The flip side of it is I travel so much that when I'm home, it actually feels like I'm on vacation versus when I'm on the road at work.
Thanks for that. Yeah. Carol, again, you've been involved right from the start, and in terms of timing and the need for this film, what would you say? And what are your thoughts on that? The timing and the need for this film now in 2024. It just seems, from my perspective and people I've been speaking to around the world, I know I have mentioned it already, but it just seems a perfect moment in time.
I think it is. I think all that you've said already, I would totally agree with. You've alluded to it, that this is the perfect time. It is the perfect time. I have a joke where I say, COVID is the gift that keeps on giving, because we are making the most out of a disaster, if you want to call it that. That COVID now has prompted people to really look at their health in a different way, to lose some confidence in what they thought conventional medicine could deliver, which it basically hasn't for COVID. So they're out there now looking for something new. And so it's perfect timing to put homeopathy on the table for them, so that they can see there's another option, and not just another option, but a transformative option, because it can do everything. It can do your acutes, it can do your long-term chronic, and it can transform your life at its deepest level. So yeah, I mean, as Julian said, it looks like a miracle, but it happens every day in homeopathic clinics across the world. It's just a thing for us now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect timing.
Now, a question for all four of you. The film carries such a wonderful message for healing mankind, and there are, of course, in the film some light-hearted moments. There are some serious moments, and also some profound moments, as far as some of the footage that I've had the good fortune to see alongside the other collaborators. That process of putting together a film can be quite challenging. So how do you give us an example of how you work and how that process is involved? Because it must be, wow, it's you can't, you must be sitting at a desk. I mean, I envision it that you can't really move away because you forget where you were, because you're trimming and snipping and resizing and blah, blah, blah.
Well, we kind of use the Bernihausen approach. Bernihausen Therapeutic Pocketbook Repertory, where he basically took apart the symptoms and reconstructed them. And so what happened was Carol headed up the transcription team. We had the whole thing transcribed into text. And then essentially what we did is we went through and found all of the pieces that were powerful, and we organized them into different categories. So there would be one for scientific research, one for placebo effect, one for homeopathy around the world, one for the benefits of homeopathy. I think there were maybe about 18 different categories. And so once that was done, we could actually see how to put things together afterwards and how they would coalesce into a way that really made sense and told a powerful narrative that was organized and cogent. I don't know if Carol and Julian want to add anything to that?
I can jump in, Carol, if you
Yeah,
have any.
do. Yeah, go.
So it's very interesting because when you're looking at something, of that size, it appears as this monumental task. But if you break it up into segments, what's very cool is you can kind of see those segments as complete thoughts. And then once they're somewhat completed, it's very interesting because then you look at the overall almost by feel to connect them together into what becomes the narrative. And that's a pretty special thing to be able to just, kind of feel that out, because I think that's how you can relate to the audience in the most visceral way at that point. But, again, to kind of pair it off of what Kim said, to get to there, you have to be very structured first, specifically so that you can build it to get to that point.
Yep, agreed. Yeah.
Can't wait to see.
I mean, it has taken an enormous amount of back and forth. We probably should count how many emails, even though 2 or 3 of us are in the same building and Julian somewhere else. We probably, I don't know, 5,000 emails probably go back and forth, tweaking this and what about that, and here's an idea for this, and
Well,
it's like
As a-
that. Yeah, it's a collaboration, 100%.
As a funny aside, there have been moments where I've been on the phone with Mickey on part of the team who's been sending a text to Kim, who's maybe 20 feet away, about something that we're speaking about, all while on a Zoom with Carol,
Yeah.
who's sitting right next to Mickey, if that makes any sense to you.
I think actually a round of
Yeah.
applause to Mickey, because
Yeah.
and actually gratitude, to be perfectly honest. She's done an incredible job, and I'm just saying that from my perspective, because I've been emailing her, adding to those 5,000 emails, by plenty more, asking questions and looking for this and looking for that. And again, it's not just Mickey; it's also Isabel Wells. And by the way, Isabel, and sadly, is not feeling very well. She's a bit under the weather today. Otherwise, she would have, of course, joined us. So I hope she has a speedy recovery. But both Isabel and Mickey are just absolute diamonds, and they're always on the ball. And it's so, I have to say, it's so refreshing, because you send an email and you get a response and it's done. And it's not like you're waiting for 6 weeks or a month or something. It's immediate almost. It's so nice. It's so professional and it's so refreshing.
We have an amazing team, and I'm glad that you acknowledged Isabel and Mickey. I mean, Mickey was the project coordinator. She basically organized all the meetings with the different patients and the speakers and the talking heads, and I mean on and on and on. And that's an immense job. So she needs a lot of recognition for that and a lot of accolades for that. And you're right, Isabel is a technological whiz, and was involved in so many different aspects. And not just those two, but really there's a whole team of people who have supported us in a variety of different ways. Lots and lots of people came forth in the homeopathic community to contribute to this project. So we want to thank everybody on every level who's been involved.
Yep.
Now, the question that everybody is asking is Netflix. When is it out? When can we watch it? If we can't watch it on the 19th, what's going to happen? Where do we see it? In fact, in the UK, I won't mention the name, but one of the students at one of the schools has spoke to a cinema. She knew the owner of the cinema, and they were talking about, when's it coming out? And the cinema is interested as well. So, hey, these are the types of conversations. So do if you can share, what the storyboard holds after the 19th.
So very exciting. Basically, they are just waiting in the wings to look at the cut we have prepared. I've been actually holding them at bay because we are waiting on a particular celebrity guest who may or may not be named. Kim, I'll leave that one to you. But once we have that solidified, then I will officially put everything in front of them for their review. and we'll be able to schedule a follow-up live about that, because it'll be very exciting.
Brilliant.
So the allusion there was to Morgan Freeman, who we have been in communication with his production team. I have a contact who knows them very well. And right now we have another narrator, an interim narrator, who does a great job. She's a Shakespearean actor and does a lovely job. But she's in there right now, and we're very confident. Actually, at least I'm very confident that we will get Morgan Freeman to narrate the film for us. And as we've said before, imagine the voice of God narrating a film about homeopathy. So that's very exciting, and that'll be happening very soon. I just sent off the rough cut to our contact, and then we'll be discussing that and getting it off to their production team very soon.
Amazing. Really something to look forward to. Now, from moving forward, we're talking about Netflix as well, but I know that Isabel, sadly, again, because she can't be here, but she was going to talk about the importance of people following the official @Introducing Homeopathy account on Instagram. And that's so important, isn't it? Because it will show a following, and it will show support for the film itself. And that, I mean, it's just the way things work, isn't it? It's the dynamics nowadays that the more followers you have, or the more people subscribing to a certain account or channel, the more chances of it going even further out, to more and more people. So do speak about that. I mean, motivation from the production team is what's needed here.
I can jump in and talk about that just a little bit. In my mind, this is really just the beginning in terms of what we can do. I think this project is part of, a real much, forgive me, I'm tripping over my words. This project is part of a much bigger push to, I think, enlighten the rest of the world about what homeopathy can do. And I think it is a film, it's a fantastic first step, but once we're finished and on Netflix or wherever else, the work is not over. And whether that takes the form of more creative content around it, or, short form content, or just a platform for people to come and share ideas, share their research, share their case studies, and really push to get the word out there. That's what we're striving for. So yes, in the interim, please go and follow @Introducing Homeopathy on Instagram, so we can really all show the support. I go follow the Facebook page as well, Introducing Homeopathy. The work that Isabel and the rest of the marketing team have done there, Rena and others, has been absolutely fantastic. So, I'd love to honor that. But know that it's not just about this. I think the more show of force that we can, the more of a movement that we can show, the more this will snowball and tip the balance between making homeopathy something that 10% of the global population subscribes to 90% or 100%.
Yeah, and I think it's also important for us. I'm sorry, Carol, do you want to say something?
No, you go.
I'll just quickly. Yeah, the importance for us is that the more followers we have on Instagram, the more negotiating power we have with Netflix, and that's the real key. We can get the film on Netflix almost certainly, but can we get it released as a Netflix original? Can we get the support of Netflix? Can we get their backing? Can we get their promotion? That's what we want, because then with that behind us, you're going to see millions of people coming into the homeopathic community and profession.
So I would say, oh, sorry, Carol.
No, I mean, I agree, endorse, support everything that's just been said. And I can say from my own point of view, from the very first time I ever read anything about homeopathy 40 years ago, I thought to myself, this modality, this system can change the world. And I still believe it. And God knows the world needs changing right now. So yeah, I really do believe it that deeply. Which is why I'm so excited to be part of this team. It's like we do have an opportunity now to really make a difference.
Amazing. And for those listening or listening back, certainly, please go to Instagram, just search at Introducing Homeopathy and follow. And don't just follow yourself, please tell your family and friends. Again, it's so important to show your support. And I would say support the film and support homeopathy. It's one and the same thing. And let's really get as many followers as possible, thousands upon thousands, ideally.
Because part of it, I think you're right. Part of it is proving that this film will have an audience. That's really what this is all about, that there are people out there who will watch it. And that gives us a much stronger negotiating place. Yeah.
It's amazing how technology has shaped this industry, isn't it, though? Because now we're talking about a major a studio, I suppose you could call it, a streaming giant, and we're talking about followers on a social media platform as well. But it's amazing, isn't it, how that works, how it's changed. I mean, wow. But yeah, for those, again, I would say, please follow, don't delay, subscribe and follow today. That was a bit corny, wasn't it, actually? But
I liked it.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it rhymed and had all the feels.
Kim, as a visionary, and you are, with the greatest respect, you are an incredible person with a great vision, and that vision is coming to fruition next week on the 19th, where people will be able to see that vision. What other aspirations do you have moving forward with the film? I know that in the collaborator meeting you did mention translations as well. I don't know if you can share, and what potentially, I know it's difficult to possibly answer, but further down the line, what do you hope for, including a sequel, eh?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we've been contacted by many people from around the world, and I don't even know necessarily how they find out about the film, but we've gotten, emails from people in Finland, from Sweden, from Italy, from Portugal, from Serbia, all people who are interested in showing the film and also translating it as well. So there's a lot of interest along those lines, and we do plan after the film is completed and we have a couple of weeks to rest and relax because we really need it. After that short respite, we are planning to go out on the road. I know that Julian has talked about going to the various film festivals, the Biennale, the Tribeca Film Festival, and other film festivals to really promote the film along those lines. And also to go around the world. We've been invited to go to Turkey, to Greece, to India, to Serbia, to actually show the film in those various countries, to do red carpet events in those various locations as well, to have them translate into all those different languages. So there's tremendous amount of opportunities available to us just to make it available on a global level. And of course, we have 160 hours of footage. One of the most challenging things in this film was to actually figure out what to cut, because there's so much compelling video that we have. And unfortunately, we had to cut some of it out. So we've got a lot available to us. And I think that, yes, we have the opportunity to create a sequel or maybe a television sitcom, or who knows what we can do. But there'll be many, many opportunities for the future to, as Julian said, to really not just promote this film, but to promote homeopathy in general.
Hey, I've got a name for the sitcom. The Homeopaths at number 51. I don't know why I said 51, but hey, so again, it seems to work, right?
It's about two homeopaths and a man from outer space for some reason who's joined them because of their cutting edge work.
And I can tell you from my experience here, most of the jokes will be aimed at the amount of food that I eat, which is a lot, apparently, for someone my size. So
as part of our arrangement with Carol, we're feeding her, like we've been feeding her for months now. And if I had known how much she eats, I would have made a different arrangement altogether.
That's my deal for staying in a cage for like 3.5 months.
Oh boy, tell me the fridge, eh? Carol, as a seasoned homeopath, do share some memorable moments that you've experienced so far
on the film.
On the film, yes.
Yeah, You know, it's such a tight team. It's such an amazing team. It's like every day is, although we're working like 10 hours a day now, um, it this is not about amazing homeopathy, because I think we all know that, but it's about working with a group of people who have a brilliant sense of humor that we all share, and just it lightens the day. It makes the 10 hours, although it's a long time, it makes it easy to work. And the project is so exciting. It's, you know, I don't want people to think we're really suffering here, because we're not. It's just like a joy every day. And, you know, yeah. And obviously the transformations in the patients themselves and the patients' individual short stories, I love that they're, excuse me, they're being brought to the public. But like you know, I've already said, as a homeopath, we see this endlessly. And that is the tragedy of it, because people who are suffering don't know this thing exists, that they don't need to suffer like that, you know. So that is the other side of it, really. Yeah.
But it's all going to change, isn't it, now, hopefully? People will
Yeah.
know, and they won't have
People
to
will
suffer
know. Yeah.
needlessly. And I mean,
Yeah.
we've spoken about this in the Homeopathy Health Show, where Kim and Julian have been on twice, certainly for Kim. You know, you're talking about it's eco-friendly, it's climate-friendly, you know, it's cost-effective, it's easy to take, it's easy to administer, whatever. And it's all-encompassing. It's amazing. I mean, there's so many plus points. I can't even remember all of them. There's so many. There's thousands and thousands about homeopathy, and it's just try it. Just try it for something, even if it's something very, very acute and very simple, and it will win you over. It's not about what someone else says. It's the proof is in the pudding. Literally take it and try it. You know, no one is saying go over there and do this or spend loads of money. Just try a simple remedy and off you go. And I think it's going to be life-changing, isn't it? Totally.
You know, the Indians refer to homeopathy as the medicine for the suffering humanity. And that's how they use it there. It's for everyone, poor, rich, and everything in between. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, Julian, on episode 61 of the Homeopathy Health Show, which you came on, where both you and Kim came to talk about the film, of course, you mentioned there were some moments where you felt that they were just right, and you were in the right place at the right time, and things flowed so beautifully well. And it was actually quite poignant when you mentioned an example of Cambridge University in the UK when you visited. So do share.
Oh, I appreciate you bringing it up. I guess just to recap, it was special for me. I mean, I'll show you actually a clip that I recorded on my phone. We were driving through the gates of Trinity College, you know, one of the most hallowed parts of Cambridge University, to meet with Professor Brian Josephson, obviously, who's a Nobel laureate. And I just remember going through the gates, and you'll see the image. It was fall, there were leaves falling, you know, everything was beautiful, but I just remember feeling, you know, this feeling that like you said, things were coalescing in a real wonderful way. And you know, to be in one of the most respected institutions in the world for education, speaking about this subject felt very powerful. And you know, again, maybe this clip won't do it justice because it's just a clip off of the iPhone, but you know, trying to relate to the feeling that I felt, you know, this was very, very, very special for me.
That's
And
a
I
wonderful entrance.
remember, I mean, it was gorgeous.
Wow.
But I remember it was very funny. So you can see there's these little cars at the end of the road, and we parked our station wagon, the rental station wagon there with all the gear in the back. And I remember as soon as we did, all of these gentlemen with earpieces started converging on us as if we were entering the CIA or something. And of course, my mother and I was there with my mother, started to get a little bit jittery because we weren't from around there, if you know what I mean. And as soon as they walked in, we're like, "Oh yes, we're here to meet with Professor Josephson." And immediately they went, "Oh, Oh my, yes, right this way, sir. So we had the red carpet treatment for the homeopathic documentary, which I thought was spot on.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I was going to actually ask you, what was it like when you saw those tiny little cars? Because they're quite puny, aren't they, compared to the size the American cars have, you know? Our cars are really small, aren't they? I know. I know. Even if you get the biggest car, it's still small.
So, at the risk of sounding like we are bragging, I think they gave us a Mercedes.
Okay.
And it wasn't, you know, because of any kind of special treatment. I think we flew in, it was very late. We had all of this gear with us. I was actually on the phone, you know, talking to the film team in America. There was all of this back and forth, and my poor mother had to be the one to actually go through and check out the rental car at the desk. So I think they took pity on us and were like, take the Mercedes, you deserve it. So really, I never had the puny car experience.
Lucky you.
I think following on what Julian said, then I think there has been a kind of divine intervention in this film. That things have lined up, the synchronicity of everything, people who we needed just came forward at the right time. It's been amazing. Yeah.
The time is nigh, as they say. You know, this is the time. This is amazing. I can't wait for you to share this vision in all its glory on the big screen. And actually, that takes me on to music and the soundtrack. Now, with some of the clips that we've seen that Kim has shared, I know there's a bit of jazz in there as well, but I wanted to actually touch upon something that you spoke about, Kim, which was octaves and notes, music, and how particular frequencies relate to that, and watching the film. And do share. I can't do justice to this.
Yeah, so you know, the film actually starts in outer space and it actually shows the planets around in our solar system. And the reason for that is because the well-tempered system, which was discovered by Al-Farabi, who was an Islamic Renaissance scientist of the 9th century, basically what he found in this well-tempered system is that and this was discovered by Johann Kepler, was that the harmonic relationships of the planets in our solar system is the same as the harmonic relationship of the well-tempered system. In other words, it's not arbitrary, it's a principle of the universe, just the way that the law of similars is a principle of the universe. And so we are really trying to align ourselves with laws and principles of the universe, because if you don't do that, then you essentially descend into chaos. And so one of these fundamental principles is that C, middle C, should be tuned at 256 hertz, and A should be tuned at 432 hertz. That's the correct pitch and tone for those musical notes, so that they're resonant with the actual universal nature of where those notes should be tuned. Now, unfortunately, in 1815, during the Congress of Vienna, Prince Metternich decided to upscale everything. So C was tuned at a higher scale for it. A was at 435, and it continued to get higher and higher, and the music became much brighter. And this actually was in exactly the same time where they actually outlawed the musical works of Johann Sebastian Bach and the writings of Friedrich Schiller. There was an actual movement to work against principle and against law. And so we have a person on our musical team who is very familiar with all this. His name is Matt Nicholson, and he's going to tune everything so that C is tuned correctly at 256 hertz and A at 432. And that creates a resonant frequency in the body, which you may not necessarily hear, but creates a kind of even healing effect on our biological processes. So this is a really important part. And we're, like I said, again, we're really aligning ourselves with not just the law of similars, but with all the laws of the universe, all the principles of the universe.
That's amazing, and I can't wait to hear that soundtrack. I know that you've used a bit of jazz because a clip was recently shared where people on the street were asked, "Do you know what homeopathy is, or what is homeopathy?" It's quite a funny clip, and for those who haven't seen it, again, head over to the Instagram or Facebook account. Certainly on Instagram, it will be up there as a reel, and it's worth watching. It's a lighter moment, a light-hearted moment as far as the film is concerned. But what other soundtracks, or has the music been specially composed as such, or have you taken some source material?
So we
So-
have a couple different libraries. We've been working with wonderful composer Alex Donka, who's actually Chris Donka from the NCH's son. And he's been sending us compositions actually for the last year and a half to bring into moments of the film. So those are very, very beautiful. We've also curated just some wonderful music from all over the world, that connects to the film on that deeper level that Kim is talking about, really looking at music from the perspective of vibration and natural law versus just, oh, that's a pretty track. And I think that's kind of one of my favorite parts, as a creative about the film, is that I think it really, as a synchronicity between all art forms, visual, auditory, etc., coalesces in a very cohesive way with that. And again, like Kim mentioned, we have another person on the music team that has sent us some beautiful original compositions as well.
I think this film is healing. This film will be healing in itself because it gives hope. And everybody
Yeah.
needs hope, don't they? We all need it.
Yep.
And that message of hope, but it's not just hope. It actually carries through to the reality of it all, that after hope, hey, go and see a homeopath or try homeopathy, or, this is what's going to happen. It doesn't just leave that word hope and says, we hope. We hope, we've hoped, and now you can hope and carry on, Kim, I think you were going to share an exclusive snippet
Yes,
film
I'd be
at the end, as
Yeah,
such.
so this still actually needs a little bit of fine tuning, but you'll get a sense from it. So I'm going to show it to you right now. It's a clip. We have not shown this to anybody else, so you do have the absolute exclusive on this. Oh, and I just want to mention really quickly, can I just talk about the website really fast before we do that?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, so the website is introducinghomeopathy.com. And if you want to purchase a ticket, what you can do is go over here to exclusive screening. You can select about the event. And then over here, you'll see you can purchase admission. You click on that. You can purchase one or multiple tickets, which you can then send to friends, family members, colleagues, whoever you think can benefit from viewing this particular film. And make sure that when you do that, you select a teak from the pull-down menu. You have to choose somebody. So it's important that he receives credit for any people who purchase a virtual ticket. The tickets are $25. You can view the film by yourself alone, or you can have a watch party where you can invite a group of individuals over and then you can have a discussion afterwards. So our objective is to get this in front of as many people as possible. And we encourage you and welcome you to purchase tickets, get it out to all your friends and family members, or to have a big watch party and get a whole group of people and then discuss the film afterwards. You can get all the information right from here. And if you have any further questions, just email us and we'll answer those questions for you. Okay, so let me show you this clip. I assume everybody can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay.
My son was very impacted by autism, and at the age of 4, he was completely nonverbal, no eye contact. I was told he had an IQ of 50, he'd never go to regular school. The school psychologist told me at this age, if he's not on medication, he's going to end up in restraints. So I went to a homeopath looking for an alternative to medication because the kids in his class who are on medication had become what I call zombified. They were, really out of it. I was in shock by the results with homeopathy. I had stopped using an alarm months before because he would wake up screaming every morning and the bed would be wet. And after the second dose of the homeopathic remedy, I woke up and the house was quiet. And I thought, oh my God, he's dead. I ran to his room and there he was sitting up smiling. The bed was dry. And he said, "Good morning, Mommy." And it's like, for something like that to happen to your child at the age of 9, It's amazing. And I have to say, for the first 6 months, I was like, I don't want to jinx this, so I hardly talked about it. But then I went for the midterm parent-teacher meetings, and they said to me, we think he should be reevaluated because we don't think he belongs in the autism program anymore. And he was moved into general ed.
I want to be an NBA player when I grow up. Like, want to be drafted.
That was, thank you so much for sharing that very exclusive clip. And I can assure you, even though I haven't seen the whole film, but I've seen snippets again, like the ones you've seen, it's going to change your life. And even if maybe homeopathy is not your thing, it's certainly going to stay with you for the rest of your life. So I would say that purchase a ticket, watch the film with friends and family, and just see the amazing possibilities that are out there as far as healing is concerned. The second largest system of medicine in the world is going to be showcased through this film, Introducing Homeopathy. I would like to, in the end, thank you very, very much. Thank you for making 2024 the year of homeopathy. Thank you for joining me here on this special Homeopathy Health Show. I'm truly grateful to you, of course, and I wish you the best of luck for April the 19th. And I must say, I've ordered the biggest tubs of popcorn. I just hope I don't feel sick. As a result of the popcorn, I mean. You know.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Atik. You've been a wonderful
Thank you.
supporter for this project, and we appreciate it greatly.
Deeply. Yeah,
Yeah.
deeply. The work that you do is wonderful.
Thank you so much, and we will be in touch. I'm very grateful to you for this exclusive. Take
See you on
care.
April
Thank you.
19th, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.